For the 1 p.m. Eastern Sunday DFS DraftKings lineup, I've been going back and forth on three quarterbacks with three very different ceilings and three probably different floors. The first is Josh Allen. He is the priciest, and he's coming at 7,700 in terms of a $60,000 cap. And then there's Justin Herbert, who's at 6,300, a little ways down. Allen, obviously, he could get 30 plus points comfortably against the Saints. But then there's the question of, well, maybe it's a James Cook kind of day. And Josh Allen just turns into more game manager and doesn't run as much as they're in cruise control in the second half. So there's the risk there of investing that much in a guy like Allen. Justin Herbert, similar risk in the sense that he could be passing a ton against the Giants and scoring buckets of points, or it could be Marion Hampton doing the damage. And then the Chargers are somewhat in cruise control, game managing, and Herbert gets his 20 points, which is fine. I want to go all in on Jaxson Dart in his NFL debut, which might be ridiculous. He looked great this preseason. The coaching staff believes he is better than Russell Wilson. That's good enough for me. He's coming in at 4,500. So if you do the math, Josh Allen could get 25 points, or Jaxson Dart could get roughly 15, 16, and Dart is probably going to be roughly the better value for that. So I'm willing to bet on Dart, use that 4,500 there, and then have a lot more to spend throughout the rest of the lineup. The rest of that lineup begins with two other Giants. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm going for it. I think Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson are worth the investment, given the fact that if I'm invested in Jaxson Dart, I'm going to go a step further with the two Giant receivers. Both Giant receivers could easily be top 20 this week. We've seen it already this season. Malik Neighbors needs no introduction. Wan'Dale Robinson is legit, former second-round pick. It's just because he hasn't had a great quarterback for several years, or at least in the right system, to break out. He's broken out early this year, even with presumably a subpar quarterback, if we can call Russell Wilson that at this stage. Dart could elevate him even further, which could be scary. I want to go for broke. Not literally, put a dollar in this, with a Giants combination of a cheap Dart, a very cheap Wan'Dale Robinson coming in at 5,000, and then an expensive Malik Neighbors at 7,000. I think that trio could combine for 50 points this week, which you're on your way to winning a 50-50 just with that. And I think it's very realistic. The other receiver I've got is Nico Collins. Wish I had traded for him or tried to before he broke out last week. My opponent probably would have said no regardless, because my opponents can pretty much telegraph my trade requests, because I will talk sometimes and say, on the blog or on the podcast, I really like this guy. And then they get an email from me saying, hey, I'd like to get this guy. And they're like, yeah, we know. This guy's good. You believe in him. I'm going to drive up the price on you. So I couldn't have gotten Nico Collins, but the point is, great matchup against against Tennessee, home matchup. Nico Collins last year was the one bright spot in the receiving core. He is again the one bright spot in the receiving core. Why not invest 7,400 on a guy who could get 20 plus points? At flex, Quentin Johnson. It's a tough call, but his 5,500 price point is too good to pass up. I love his targets. Maybe he'll go down to 6 or 7 targets this week. He can still do a lot of damage with 6 or 7 targets. At running back, I'm putting a lot of investment in Bijan Robinson, 8,200. Why not? Going up against Washington, a beleaguered Commanders team whose offense really has changed dramatically over the last 2 weeks, and not for the better. And so I think that it's quite possible that Atlanta will control the clock. It will rebound from last weekend's debacle, and that Robinson will be leaned on heavily. That's what you want, obviously, in a DraftKings DFS lineup. And then Marion Hampton for 5,900. It's a tough call. For 5,500, I could go Cam Scatterbo. Scatterbo could get 18 points easily in this game. It just makes me nervous to pick 4 Giants. You might turn off the podcast if you hear that. and I wouldn't blame you. I'm going with the passing attack, and I'm banking on Hampton outperforming Scatterbo. They're priced roughly the same, and my money is more on the quote-unquote more talented, we'll see, Hampton. And better matchup, I think, for Hampton in general. At tight end, I'm going Cade Otton. You might be saying, BJ, you're chasing points, sarcastically. Otton has been awful and or hurt, pretty much this season. But we've seen him be a top 14 tight end. Mike Evans hurt. Chris Godwin potentially returning as of the recording of this podcast. But still kind of a question mark. There's a role here for Otton to get 7+ targets. There's room for him to do that in this offense, to step up and be the guy that we've seen in past years. Actually, you could look back and see when Tampa Bay receivers have been hurt, Otton sometimes has been the guy to step up and get a good deal of targets. There is a precedent for this. And so for 3,400, it's worth testing out. Finally, the Patriots defense, only 3,100. I say only, there's some defenses you can get in the 2,000s. But I think the Patriots against the Panthers is a good bet. I'm not a believer that the Panthers offense last week, is a sign of things to come. I think the Patriots pretty much shut them down, get double-digit points. So to recap, the safe plays here, this quote-unquote safe, Bijan Robinson, Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and let's say Hampton and Nico Collins. I think those are all safe plays. I could argue that Quentin Johnston is a safe play. We'll see. It's a spread the ball offense, and Johnston has been getting the most targets. We'll see. I do think he's relatively safe. The big question marks are Dart, Otton, and the Patriots. I think all three are decent bets for double digits, with Dart being the best bet for double digits. It's the whole reason to start him. You're hoping for at least 14, 15 points out of this guy. And so I think this is a very strong 50-50 lineup because, as with a lot of good 50-50 lineups, there are a bunch of guys here who can get 20+ points, and there are a few guys here who are very cheap who can get double digits. That's what you want in terms of combination, and I'm sticking with it. BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog. Email me anytime. We'll see you tomorrow.